Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Tuesday, October 26th, and I'm Blair Kirchhoff. Sporting Kansas City won a playoff-like game at the Seattle Sounders on Saturday and closed the gap on first-place Seattle in the MLS Western Conference race. That game was intense, so much so that goalkeeper Tim Melia body slammed a Seattle player who was, let's say, entering his space. Sporting wound up winning 2-1 on Johnny Russell's goal, a goal that finished a tremendous possession and included more than 30 passes. We talk about that game, plus KC NWSL continuing its non-losing ways at Legends Field, and I get Shaun's impression of the Kansas City visit of FIFA World Cup officials last week. Let's get started. Tell you what, Shaun, that game on Saturday night felt like a playoff game. Sporting Kansas City and the Seattle Sounders.
It did. It was a regular season playoff game, but that's kind of what you get between these top teams at the end of the season, battling for, number one season of West. Those two teams are battling for. So yeah, exciting.
And so Kansas City wins 2-1 and moves within a couple of points of Seattle for the top spot. Of course, we'll get into this in a little bit down the road here, but the team's chasing both of those, both of them. So a lot left to be determined in the Western Conference seeding for the postseason. But let's dig into the game a little bit. The Sporting takes the early lead, and I thought for a while we just might have a 1-0 game. It was kind of playing out that way, but Seattle gets it tied up, and then we've spent all season talking about Daniel Salloi, and deservedly so, an MVP candidate. But at least for the month of October, Sporting Kansas City has a different MVP candidate, does it not?
Yeah, Johnny Russell. I think you look at the season as a whole. Obviously, it's still going to be Daniel at the forefront, and he's still at the forefront of MVP standings. But yeah, now I guess we should say as well that Salloi was injured for the Seattle game.
Yep.
Yeah, turns his ankle against the Whitecaps. And it's, the captain himself, Johnny Russell, now scores in 7 straight games. I feel like we're chatting to the guy after every single game because he scores a goal. And comes up big again. Sporting KC, one shot the whole second half. It's Mr. Johnny Russell, and it's a goal to win it 2-1.
One shot, and yet how many passes were strung together on that possession to produce that one shot?
Don't quote me exactly, but I want to say 34, 35.
Incredible. I saw a accelerated version of it on social media. I don't know how long how much time elapsed for that, but that was beautiful soccer. Absolutely beautiful to control it for that many passes for that long a time, to produce the Roger Espinoza opening to find Johnny Russell, who put it away with a beautiful goal. A typical Johnny Russell goal too, right from the right side with the left foot.
Yeah, no, that was a really interesting goal of a mix between possession football and counter-attacking football as well. As we said, 34, 35 passes, but ball ends up at Emilia's feet, passes out to Ilie. Seattle tries to press, as they've been doing all game, and basically from Ilie to Espinoza to Russell, that's all it took. Just, long possession to get to that point, but then there was a couple of passes that just completely broke down Seattle's press, and ball was in the back of the net. So it was a really interesting mix between a possession type goal while it still felt like a counter-attack.
It did, and I've glossed over it, but Sporting took a 1-0 lead on a first MLS goal. Yeah,
Mr. Remy Walter. There was a little bit of luck to it in that. It's, again, great play down the right with Russell, cooks the ball across, Scaddy's shot is blocked, and it comes out to Remy Walter on the edge of the box, and great shot. Takes a bit of a flick off the Seattle defender's head as he's trying to clear it, but goal's a goal. And it's actually the exact kind of start you need when you travel to Seattle, because if you let Seattle dictate the tempo and dictate the game like it is in the second half, most teams don't stand a chance. So grabbing that first goal and then just, like we were saying, second half, Seattle was certainly the team that looked more like scoring, but just one chance to take it and holds on tight. So, great game as a whole. Again, definitely Park struck the second half. It was rough, but good game.
Hey, remind me how Remy came to Kansas City. He's spent almost his entire career in his native France, French pro leagues.
Yeah, I'll probably butcher this, but I believe it was Nice. I think that's how you say it.
Yep.
But yeah, he spent most of his time out playing in, he says in his Nice of France, pulling up his wiki now to see where he was before. Yeah, so Yangsty, I'm saying in Nice, and then did spend a little bit of time out in, I believe, Turkey, but only played 9 games there. And then, Sporting KC picked him up. And I know as a player that Sporting were looking at for a while, and it just kind of finally came together. Biggest start of the season.
Yeah, he's been a nice add for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the reasons that it felt like a playoff game was the chippy play and the and no play or no moment reflected that more than the Tim Melia body slam. And I got to tell you, I love that. I love seeing that. I know if you're a Seattle fan, you're furious at seeing it, but let's just set it up for us, Shaun. How did it come to pass that Tim Melia hoisted, I forget his name.
Christian Roldan.
Roldan, yeah. Picked him up from behind and gave a move that a pro wrestler would be proud of.
Oh, I know. The Rock quote tweeted it on Twitter. He was breaking it down as well. So, Roldan's just backing into Melia. And, you can't be an outfield player and back into a goalkeeper that, it's a free kick going Sporting's way. But then Melia gets his arm around Roldan and pretty much pulls him back and slams him down to the ground. And I watched that. I was like, yep, that's a red card. No idea how he got away with it, but I think that's the nature of these playoff field kind of games. And, fair play, I guess, to the referee for controlling the situation, just giving out a couple of yellow cards. But I thought he was sent off for sure.
Well, was an official? Did you see on a replay that it was an official looking at it? Is it one of those deals where could they have gone to a review of that if they'd wanted to? Yeah,
it could have. Again, but part of VAR is any egregious play or an error that the referee misses, and you'll see stuff like when elbows get thrown and stuff, and the referee might not see an elbow, they go to VAR, give the red card. Same kind of deal. Obviously, it was pretty hard for the referee to miss this instance, but he could have taken a second look and turned it into a red card, but they just stuck with yellows for Melia. And then you have a Roldan brother, Christian's brother, I'm forgetting his first name. But he got pretty angry and started pushing Melia too, so it was a bit of a mess.
Well, do these teams don't play again in the regular season, do they?
No, that was the third time this season. Twice in Seattle, one time here. They should be done, but as long as Sporting and Seattle, of course, can keep their heads in the playoffs, wouldn't be surprised to see these two teams in a conference final in about a little bit more than a month's time now.
Right, and didn't the visiting team win each game?
Yeah. 3-1. Their first game in Seattle, 3-1 Sporting, and then 2-1. So that's Seattle. Well, I guess whoever has the higher seed, if it's Sporting, if it's Seattle, your road team might feel like you have a bit of an advantage there.
Right. All right, so I'm hustling to call up the MLS standings here. Table, as you might call it. But So with the win, the Sporting obviously picked up 3, and they came into the game down 5 to Seattle. So I'm in the East. I need to be in the West. So now I'm in the West. Seattle leads with 58 points. Sporting with one fewer game at 55. Colorado also one more game than Sporting at 55 as well. So Sporting actually needed to win this game to stay in second place. I mean, Colorado's been playing well, and whenever we talk about the top of the West, we've been talking about Seattle and Kansas City all year. Colorado is having a terrific season.
Yeah, no, we are. They've been just kind of floating behind the two teams all season. They've pulled away from the teams below them, basically Portland through Laws, LAFC, 5 points separation 4th to 9th. So Colorado can kind of not worry so much about that playoff battle. Battle is now just trying to cling on to Sporting and Seattle, and they're right there in the race. Like you said, Blair, we've been chatting about Seattle and Sporting the whole time. Colorado's sneaking about, and I think a big part of it is, this is a team that with Robin Fraser as the head coach, he come in the last couple of years, he's done a great job, and the team itself, they have a lot of good veterans, whether it's Yarber and goal, Jack Price, Kellen Acosta's out there. They've got a lot of players who have now been around the system for a while. And they're becoming a threat, and I think that's only going to continue, obviously the rest of this season, next season going forward.
All right, so what do we got coming up for Sporting?
For Sporting, we now have Wednesday night against LA Galaxy, which is here. And I believe Portland, Seattle, LAFC on Tuesday. So if LAFC beats, which I mean, it's in LA, so it's absolutely a possibility. And then Sporting manages to beat LA Galaxy, Sporting could find himself in first place on goal difference by the end of the week, but we'll see.
Yeah, and by the way, with the win on Saturday, Sporting clinched a playoff spot. Not should not dismiss that. I mean, they were heading toward the playoffs all season with this team, but you've got to stop and appreciate the accomplishments when they occur, and one occurred on Saturday.
Exactly, and now Sporting has the little X next to their name on Twitter, so everyone knows.
That's right. That's right. Qualified for the postseason. Hey, there is just a couple of personnel pieces of news I wanted to ask you about. Alan Pulido, when are we going to see him, or are we going to see him again this year?
Feels like last year, doesn't it, Blair?
Yep.
Yeah, I know he picked up an injury earlier this season when he was actually with the Mexican national team. And it's again all year he's fighting back for fitness, and earlier this month even it was he played 15 minutes, can play 30 minutes, and we were like he'll be up to speed by the playoffs, and then he gets surgery to clean some stuff up in his knee, is what we were told. Vermeesa said he thinks that Pulido will be involved, but he doesn't know to what extent and what games.
They played well without him, but they're a better team with him. I think he's sensational.
Yeah, he is, and I think he's been gone for such long stretches. Oftentimes if a team loses their best player, things can kind of go a bit sideways. Sporting have played without him so much anyway. He just kind of, when he plays, it's a bonus. When he doesn't, it's almost become the norm these past 2 years. True.
And Shallowy's injury came as a bit of a surprise, did it not?
Yeah. We didn't hear anything about it after the Vancouver game, and oftentimes with press conferences and whatnot, we'll just ask about the health of the team. Might be me, might be Fad, I don't know. But no one asked heading into this game. We just assumed everything was all normal, and then the injury report comes out, and Daniel's listed as questionable. And Peter says after the game it was turned his ankle, so he's day-to-day. So it's nothing serious, but whether he's back for the Galaxy on Wednesday will remain to be seen still.
Well, and certainly And Johnny Russell's one of several who's just stepped it up big time. Well, he's just been Mr. Consistency. It's been amazing to see. So, okay. Hey, Shaun, let's take a break here. And when we come back, we're going to pick it up and talk KC NWSL. And I wanted to get your impressions of the World Cup presentation in Kansas City last week.
Howdy.
Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening. We're back with Shaun Goodwin talking soccer, and KC NWSL just keeps it going at home. Listen, not that Legends Field is the most ideal venue for soccer. It is a baseball stadium first, always has been. I think that we're going to see KC NWSL in its own stadium at some point, but they are turning it into a place where they protect. They protect their home, and it's terrific to see. The team is playing much better over the last couple of months, but a big reason for that is because they are playing so well at home. I'd like to see them do something on the road, but hey, I'll take this for them at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? So they lost to Chicago last week, 9 days ago now. Got confirmed. He didn't win a single game on the road, so that's definitely something to build upon next year. But it's got a 1-1 draw with Gotham this past weekend on the Friday. Is now 7 games undefeated at home. So, like you said, it's a baseball field and going to be moving into Children's Mercy Park next year, as we've said several times. But yeah, they've turned a little baseball field, turned soccer fields into a little bit of a fortress. So, good on them. And I think everyone from the players, the coaching staff, the organisation, the fans will be happy to see them moving to Children's Mercy Park. But I think they'll miss Legends Field a little bit. They're finishing strong, and there'll be a little bit of Legends Field in the club's heart going forward, I think.
You kind of get that corner view from the press box, don't you? You're in the you're not behind, you're not on the side, you're just tucked in the corner, which is actually not a bad vantage point.
I remember when they first announced they were going to be playing at Legends Field, and I was like, how's the pitch layout going to be, and where am I going to be sitting? What's my viewpoint going to be? And I remember being a little peeved. Like, that doesn't seem like a great view, but now it's not, obviously it's not ideal, but it's perfectly fine. It's treated me well. And yeah, I'll miss that little press box up there too.
Well, you got one more opportunity to sit in there and then to bid it farewell with the OL Reign coming to town on, was it this week?
Yeah, this coming Saturday, final game of the season. So it's a 8 p.m. kickoff. It's a little bit later. But lots of different playoff implications for many teams, not called Kansas City, but KC can still play a part in the playoff picture for sure.
Hey, we'll wrap up their season the next time we talk, but just and what happens in the regular season finale is not going to change your viewpoint of this, but how about just give us a little preview on how you'll feel about this inaugural season, and then we'll expand on it later.
Yeah, I guess without going too deep on it, it's a team that, we've come together, new coaching staff and everything, and it didn't look good for a while. I mean, you being behind the scenes a bit more, being at practices, you could see the work was being put in. And I think what this season showed is an organisation willing to take risks on the field. When you look at the trades, and one that's willing to stick by its philosophies and its coaching staff. Again, I've chatted to Hugh about this, and like any coach, they don't listen to the noise on social media and stuff. But I've seen people playing like, it's, good coach is the problem, get rid of a good coach, blah blah blah. Again, and knowing Hugh more personally as well, I know that he's been working all season to implement a system. He's not strayed from it, and I think we're finally seeing the results. And good on him for sticking by that. And I think heading into next season, it can only continue to improve, right? So, as a whole, yeah, it's a season which the team finishes in last place, but there were also improvements throughout the season. It wasn't a completely lost cause, let's say that.
There you go. Okay, again, we'll elaborate on it next week or next time we talk. So, okay, Shaun, you and I were sitting next to each other last week when FIFA officials, this was on Thursday, FIFA officials were in town to tour not only Arrowhead Stadium, which is where World Cup games would be played, but also practice facilities and the city in general, as Kansas City looks to become one of the 11 in the United States to host World Cup games in 2026. It's a joint venture with Canada and Mexico. The Canadian, 2 cities in Canada, 3 in Mexico are going to get, already have been assigned. They're going to get games. And the only bidding process is with the United States. So 17 cities are bidding for 11 spots. How do you think Kansas City did in the hour that we were in the Power and Light District living room, not behind any closed doors, not having any, I guess off the record conversations, or maybe you did, I don't know, but for at least for the public portion of the presentation, were the right things said? Anything that made you raise your antenna? What did you make of that day in Kansas City?
Yeah, I think I just want to say the event itself was, obviously a really nice event. Joe's barbecue, being the FIFA delegation, everyone else. But no, from what was said and whatnot, I learned that Clark Hunt is a much bigger soccer guy than I originally thought. He says he's been to 11 of the last 12 World Cups, which really impressed me. And, people were saying the right things and stuff. I didn't think it was anything groundbreaking until we got to the FIFA vice president. And, he said some good, and the board, I guess the director who was with him, I'm forgetting his name, I can't think if you remember it.
Well, Colin Smith was the director of events. I don't have his title in front of me. They were just 2 FIFA officials, high-ranking FIFA officials, and of course Victor, and I will botch his last name, so I'll just leave it at that. He is also the CONCACAF president, so he knows Kansas City. Was here over the summer during the World, the Gold Cup, so this wasn't new to him. And but for the other FIFA official here, I think he was seeing Kansas City for the first time.
Yeah, he was, and he sounded impressed, and I think a lot of what they said as well, it was more in the words they said, and things like just don't try to be, and this isn't a direct quote, but don't try to be something you're not. Just be Kansas City, be what you are, and that's how you get good bids. And it doesn't matter about the size of the city. It doesn't matter that we're not a Los Angeles or a Miami or New York or whatever. But as long as the soccer infrastructure is there, which Kansas City does have, it sounds like promising. Now, I was chatting to Catherine Fox, who is the director of the KC 2026 bid. And, she was saying that, one of their big things is transport. So that's something that they've been trying to figure out, whether it's a shuttle service between the downtown area and out to Arrowhead, and just other transportation issues around the city. But she also says, if they get the bids, they then have until 2026 to figure it out. So I think that's their main concern right now. But everything else seemed really positive.
I agree. Look, I think for the officials from FIFA who are touring the United States, all 17 sites, I'm sure they have different levels of enthusiasm for receptions wherever they go. They go to New York or LA. I think the conversation's different than when it is in Kansas City. And in New York and LA, it's, are we going to get the final? And in Kansas City, it's like, please give us anything. We'll take we'll take our little pool play and be really, really happy about that. So Kansas City did what it had to do. It's one of, if not the smallest market bidding. I know Cincinnati is in there, Nashville as well. They're all sort of in the same population demo, but of the smaller cities that are bidding, nobody has enthusiastically embraced soccer over the last, 25 years than Kansas City has, fashioning itself as a national soccer capital. We can debate whether that's true or not, but at least they put it on a T-shirt in Kansas City. So I agree with you. I think Kansas City did a good job, and we'll know first quarter 2022 when we expect to hear an announcement.
Yep, that's the hope. First or second quarter at the latest. Well, 2022 we should know.
All right, Shaun. Always enjoy these weekly catch-ups with you talking soccer, and we will do it again soon.
Yes, thank you, Blair.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff of Beth Welsh, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, and Chris Fickett. Tip of the cap to Shaun Goodwin for stopping by and talking Sporting Kansas City and KC NWSL. Links to stories about the teams can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. So let's talk about the morning sports edition. If you're not seeing it, you're really missing out. On kansascity.com, go to the Stars e-edition. That's a replica of the printed newspaper on your screen that comes with your digital subscription. Well, now there's an updated sports section produced separately that goes along with it. When you open the e-edition, there's a box in the upper right-hand corner that says All Editions. Click on that, and you can access about, 15, 20, 25, 30, up to 50 pages of sports. Maybe you get a link in your email. I do. It's there by about 6 a.m. every morning. But however you get it, it is access to complete coverage of the previous day's sports, news, features, statistics, everything. It's fantastic. Hey, look, thanks for reading the Star and listening to our podcast lineup. You're helping support the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City, and we cannot produce programs like SportsBeat KC without you. We'll be back on Wednesday with another episode.